Instagram stories for Thursday, January 2nd. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, we are continuing the interview that I did with Jen Lehner from the Front Row Entrepreneur Flash Briefing. Today in the episode, you're going to hear us talk about our current favorite social media accounts and our predictions for 2025 in both social and tech. And along with that, you're going to hear clips from listeners, those of you who sent in audio talking about what your predictions are for 2025. All of that and more on today's episode, but first, here's a word from our sponsors. Welcome back. Here's Jen Lehner and I talking about our current favorite social media accounts, and then we'll get into our predictions for 2025. Let's talk about your current favorite social media account. So who are you following on any platform that you're really enjoying right now?
I would say Allie K. Miller on Instagram, and it's ALLIE K. Miller. She's putting out stellar AI content. I mean, her content is about AI, and she's just wicked smart, as they say in Massachusetts. She's the real deal. She's so good. I in fact have an alarm set for her posts so that I see them the minute that she posts.
Wow.
And then who's the other one? The other one is just funny. Again, I go to TikTok to laugh, and it's Shop AIF, and this woman is hilarious, and I can't really explain what she's about. She just sort of does these little monologues, and she's funny. How about you?
I have been following Subway Takes, which is, if you haven't seen it, a account where they do interviews on the subway in New York City, and they hold up the little Metro card and they clip the microphone behind the Metro card. So it's kind of a unique take. And the way they do interviews, they started with sort of just random people asking them questions, getting their opinions on things. And now they've kind of moved up to famous people. And this is fascinating to me because I think about when I grew up and I saw people like David Letterman, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, and how this is completely transitioned away from you need a network like CBS or NBC to have a talk show. You could just have a talk show on the most noisy train ever, and that's completely fine. And people will watch it and I'll watch it. So I've really enjoyed kind of watching this. Subway Takes is the name of the account. It even sort of reminds me of carpool karaoke in a way when famous people come on, but just much shorter. And that's kind of how we consume content today.
Thank you. So, I just followed them. I can't wait to check that out.
There's one other one too that I want to mention on Threads, the Beyond Meat account. Beyond Meat is, I guess, vegan burgers. I personally don't eat that, but the person who's running the account is a social media person who's kind of under that guise of, I'm going to say whatever I want because my boss thinks I'm doing a good job because I have followers and the account is growing. And so they say a lot of silly things about me and about social media marketing and just their approach to not getting fired. And it's absolutely hilarious. So I would say Beyond Meat on Threads.
All right. Well, I am vegan and I just followed them now too. So thanks for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll link to all these in the show notes. So if you didn't catch it, you can follow all these people in the show notes.
And another one popped to mind that's very irreverent, that just came out of nowhere. And it was the the Nutter Butter cookies.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was just wild. And that's all I'm going to say. Just link to Nutter Butter, and then our listeners can go and check it out if they haven't already.
Give them a little context. Give them a little of the story.
It was a very bizarre, like acid trip kind of like content. It's just bizarre. Like what is happening? And so maybe you could even say it's like avant-garde. I don't know, but it was very strange, but really compelling. And then they ended up getting just, I don't know, surely over 1 million followers. They were the talk of the town. Everybody was talking about it in the advertising world and the marketing world. Like, what is going on with this account? But what I think is so brilliant is that, and you can't say this about every successful campaign like that, but when I started watching it, I swear to you, I started craving a Nutter Butter, which I have not had since I was like a little kid. I didn't even know those cookies were even still around, but I had to have one. I was like, and we bought a pack of these, and actually, I don't even know if they're vegan, but we did buy a pack of them, and just fascinating.
What I love about that is, you could have spent however much it costs to get a Super Bowl ad, and maybe people wouldn't even talk about. But compared to the amount of money that they spent to make that TikTok and how much it blew up, right? I'm sure it was increased sales, I'm sure it had a huge effect. And that kind of reminds me of the power of social media when compared to the old way. And that Nutter Butter, I want to say that was over the summer, right? That
Yeah.
sort of blew up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So what would you say, Jen, for 2025 are your predictions for social media?
I mean, looking what's happening with everybody fleeing X and uh for me it also feels like Facebook is less active than it was. I mean, just from my own place in the world where I sit, I think people want more of their feed to be organic, like what they want to see, as opposed to the old. I think they want more community. I think they want more stuff like Blue Sky. So I think we're going to see that. But honestly, I've just been so focused on AI that it's hard. AI can't affect all things the way it is and not also affect what it is we're going to end up doing on social media. Not just from a content perspective, but just from a behavior perspective, like how the algorithm reacts, what we're shown, what how we participate. This is a terrible answer because I'm all over the place because I can't say like you have a better answer. Let's hear your answer.
So I think burnout is something we're going to talk about a lot more in 2025. I think to a certain extent, there's a pressure to just be on every single platform as much as you can, 24 hours a day. And if you have a podcast, people say, oh, and do you have a YouTube channel? And, to a certain point, you realize, okay, I can't do everything. And you might either decide to hire a team or keep doing it like by yourself, like me, which is not the right move long term. But that burnout, we're going to acknowledge, okay, we're creating content for free. What is that actually getting us? And is that worth it? So I think that's part of the conversation in 2025. And I think if TikTok does go away, which, unclear at this point, it's definitely seeming like it's going to, I think YouTube Shorts is going to be the place where people start to spend a lot more time in comparison to pick up that slack from TikTok. That's my prediction on it.
Yeah, I like your answer way better than mine. I think that's right. I think that's spot on.
No, but I think AI, like you said, will infiltrate more of our social media because how much of the time that I mentioned is taking me to make all this content and post it everywhere and do all these things could be done by AI. Like, could AI automatically scan my podcast every time I post a new episode, pull out all the relevant links and make it into an email newsletter for me or make it into a caption for my next post? Like, that would actually help me out a lot. So I think AI is definitely going to be part of what happens in social.
Well, I think I know. I mean, it's just 100%. It definitely will be. And the more people start to understand that we don't have to be super techie to use AI, that this is all about natural conversation. That's why what makes it so amazing is that like everybody's content is going to be in some way influenced by AI, but in terms of the actual platforms and like how we use them, how we prioritize them, that is the part where I really can't even imagine it. Mark Schaefer wrote a book years ago called Content Shock. And his premise was basically like, we are going to reach a point of just like explosion or implosion, right? Like that we can't take this amount of content, that it's just, we're going to reach some sort of tipping point. And I'm wondering if, because, all right, so yeah, AI influences all of our content creation, um, making it easier for us to create infinitely more content with a click of a button that we ever could. We could take one podcast and from that spin off 20 pieces of long form content with AI, right? So then if ever there was going to be content shock or implosion, I would think the time is now, And so I don't know, but I can't imagine what that exactly looks like. But, to your point, burnout is a good word, right? Because it's going to be burnout from all of it, creating it, consuming it. I don't know, but we'll have this conversation again at the end of next year and see where we are. It'll be fun to actually play this, and then we're
Oh,
gonna have to make it a tradition, right?
I didn't even think of that. That's a fantastic idea. Here's what we said, and here's what actually happened. I like that. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
All right.
Okay. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from you, the listeners, with your predictions for 2025. And Jen and I will talk about our last predictions for 2025 when it comes to tech. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Some of you who listen to the show were nice enough to send in audio with your predictions for social in 2025. Here are some of the clips.
Hi, I'm Taisia from Billy Social, and I've been listening to Instagram stories for 2 years. I think in 2024, I see AI helping creators work smarter and save time, and also spend more energy on being creative and connecting with their audience.
Hi, I'm Casey from New York, and I've been listening to the Instagram Stories podcast for a year and a half. My prediction for 2025 is going to be an expansion of AR, VR experiences. With such heavy investment from Meta and Snap, I think we're going to start to see baby steps of what this world can really look like in everyday practical use. We're not immediately going to jump into everybody wearing glasses or headsets, but I think we're going to start to see in baby steps a shift away from our phone into more immersive experiences from these platforms.
Hi, I'm Kieran and I'm from the UK. I've been listening to the Instagram stories for around 2 years now. My social media prediction for 2025 is that we're going to see a lot of AI and VR combined together, which will make for some really interactive interactions and probably a lot of fun to go with it.
Thank you to the listeners who sent in clips. It really helps to round out the show so you don't just hear my voice all the time. Here is the last segment of Jen and I making our predictions for 2025, this time in tech. So last one, what would you say for your predictions for tech in 2025? Hardware, software, AI, what would you say?
Agentic AI. I think it's all about agentic AI, where right now AI is like, it can do lots of automations, but the agents are going to be able to, we give it a goal, then it takes the goal and then it has to map a path to get to the goal. And then it actually does the thing. And I think that's going to happen a lot. And then wearables, I think, are going to continue to be a thing. You know, from my glasses, I also ordered this thing called Applaud, not Applaud. It's Plaude. I'm not going to give a plug for it because I think they're a terrible company, because I want to send it back. I had it, like, I opened it up and I immediately realized, like, I'm not going to use this, literally 5 minutes later. And I noticed they had a subscription fee. I'm like, no, I thought it was like $150 and I was in and out. No. So they have their policy is 30-day money back guarantee for whatever reason. Oh, no. They're giving me such a runaround. It's like, it's driving me nuts. Oh, it's making me so mad. But my point is, this is a thing you could put on your wrist or wear around your neck. And the idea is that you can sort of document every single aspect of your day and your life. It's a recorder that transcribes. Well, our phone, my Apple phone, I know you have an Android, but I don't know why, but my iPhone, but my iPhone can now, and everybody's iPhone can now, in voice notes, it automatically transcribes your voice notes. So I don't need this thing. And but the fact that they made this thing and people are wearing them, and then, you know, our health, I've got my Diva ring on that monitors every single thing of my, you know, in my body. I think that's going to continue to be a big thing in the market. How about you?
Yeah. I was actually thinking a lot about the AI connections to other things, similar to what you said, and reaching that point where it can accomplish goals, much like a virtual assistant or an actual assistant. If you had one, you can say, you know, find me a vacation and book the flight and book the hotel and send it to my phone so I can just approve it or whatever. And even the smart speakers that we've all got in our house that can kind of answer a basic question, but can't actually do very much apart from turn on the music, turn on the lights, for that LLM, whatever AI, to actually be able to do those tasks, like book a flight, buy a gift for your spouse, whatever. That's something I'm really hoping finally happens in 2025, just to be able to take these technologies and just put them all together, whether it's APIs or whatever technology on the back end needs to make that happen. But that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing in 2025.
Yeah. And to all your examples, I mean, I think it'll be like this. It'll be like, didn't you just have an anniversary, like your 10-year anniversary?
I did. It's actually, it's 19 years. I reached a point where I felt like that makes us sound old. So I started counting backward in the caption every year. And my friends keep sending me messages like, why is the number going down? And I'm like, don't worry I'm sorry for distracting. Please continue.
That is very funny. Okay. Well, happy anniversary. Happy 19th
thank
year.
you.
Next year. So next year, agentic AI will totally be around, and you're going to say, hey, book a trip to London. And we want to stay in a 5-star hotel, and it's our 20th anniversary. So I want to have, I also need to get my wife a gift. So if you could have delivered over to the hotel, a bobblehead of Yoda wearing, I'm just trying to think of like stuff I've seen you post in the past, but, and, and a chocolate cake with this written on it,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And then like the things it will happen. It will do
Right.
the things for you. And so it's exciting to think about.
Yeah, but how much time does that give you back in your day, right? To be able to do other tasks or focus on your job or exercise or whatever. That's super exciting to me, to be able to offload all that work.
Absolutely. The key is not replacing it with more of the same.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Because that can happen.
Yeah. Jen, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Can you please tell us where we can find you online and follow your journey?
Yeah. The best place to find me is to connect with me over on Instagram at Jen, JEN _ LEHNER. How about you?
Awesome. The best place to find me is on Instagram at Daniel Hill Media. And if you do not listen to Jen's flash briefing, look for the Front Row Entrepreneur wherever you find your audio updates, whether you listen through podcast or smart speaker. Absolutely recommend Jen's updates. They're super fascinating and great to get caught up very quickly.
Thank you. And we got to shout out your flash briefing, the Instagram stories.
Yes,
it's
you
for
can
the
find
S,
that.
right?
Yeah, exactly. You can find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your audio.
Awesome.
Jen, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Daniel.
Okay, that's it for my interview with Jen. I promise to be back with a actual news episode in the very near future, just as soon as there's actually some news that is happening in the social media world that I think you need to know about. As always, thank you so much for listening. And if you like this content, please go on Apple Podcasts and leave a review. I link to how to do that in the show notes so you can get there directly. Thank you so much for listening.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree, but actually that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.